Hello guys, going to be going over the MLB PrizePicks slate for Monday, May 9th. We got 11 games today. Some of these games are starting pretty early in the morning. So I do have a play in that 9:05 a.m. game Pacific time that I'm going to give out. So probably going to be giving you guys a lot of updates on Twitter tomorrow because there are a lot of props that they have not released yet. Total bases, they always don't. And then hits and walks, runs and RBIs, there barely anything there. So starting off with first inning runs allowed. There are two of these that I do have some interest in. They aren't going to be asterisk, otherwise known as my favorite plays, but they're leans right now. And the first one's going to be Reds and Brewers, 0. 0.5, no runs in the first inning. So under on this number. It is going to be Brandon Woodruff against Luis Castillo. So if Castillo was already in his regular form, I would say this is going to be a very confident play. But he's going to be making his season debut tomorrow, so we don't know which version we're going to see of him. He has really elite potential. He's shown it throughout his career, but he's definitely had his inconsistencies. The Brewers, they've been a pretty good offense lately, and this game again, it is in Cincy, and we know how great of a hitter's ballpark that is. Now, the reason why I'm going to say I kind of like the under, though, is what if Castillo comes out and he is already in top form? And also, this game right now, with how the baseballs are, everyone's talking about how it's the dead ball era. These balls are just like there's no carry to them. When you hit him, it seems like it could be a homer or an extra base hit, but then it just dies in the outfield. So that's definitely a positive. It's also not the summertime yet. Cincinnati, this game, I think the winds are blowing in. 7 miles blowing in from center. And then it's a 4.4 and 3.3 run total. Like, that's not really that high. And all that we really need is for that first inning to go scoreless. Now, another thing about Fantasy Labs, so it shows you, some pretty good stuff, but some of these probable pitchers, like, don't look at him. They're wrong. I think they actually just updated it because they did have Garrett Cole against Glenn Otto or something. So yeah, it looks like the page is up. No, Otani is not pitching tomorrow. Kluber is not pitching tomorrow. Never mind on that. Going back to the first inning, no runs. It is a no runs play again. It's gonna be Oakland and Detroit. So right here, and again under for this Michael Pineda and Paul Blackburn. So Paul Blackburn has been really good this season so far. Both these teams are not projected to be any good. The Tigers actually haven't been too bad, but the A's definitely, they're supposed to be one of the worst teams in all of baseball. So that's why I have an interest in this, even with Michael Pineda on the mound. Pineda has not been good. I've said it before, he's just been getting lucky. These numbers are just awful. So many of these are in the bottom 10 percentile in all of the majors, and you look at that expected ERA, it is over 2 runs higher. He's getting hit hard 51% of the time. Low K rate. The only good thing that he's got working for him is his low walk rate, but this is just a very lucky pitcher, I would say. But because it is the A's, hopefully he can just get lucky one more inning tomorrow in the first, because I think Paul Blackburn, he can handle this Detroit lineup. I mean, Detroit's really stacked with righties, and Paul Blackburn, a righty, should be able to handle that. You look at righties, Detroit, Oakland, WRC plus, like 27th and 30th, and then if you sort it by other, some of these hitting stats, like, I don't know, just pick some of these ISO, 27th, 29th. So they're just not good hitting teams against, really both sides. But for righties, particularly the two that are going on the mound, they're just not good teams. So hopefully the lack of offense just helps this hit. And now on to pitching outs. Strikeouts, nothing right now for me. Pitching outs, there are 2 plays. So first one's going to be Zach Plesac, 16.5 under on this against the White Sox. Plesac has not been good. Feels like I'm saying guys that are just not good. But again, Plesac, he's better than Pineda, but Plesac hasn't been the same type of guy when he first came up to the league. He has had a lot of struggles, like similar to Pineda, just a whole lot of blue. Not what you want to see. Um, the hard hit, low K, higher expected ERA than what it is right now, and he's just not a pitcher that typically goes deep into games. The the Guardians, they're pretty restrictive of Plesac's pitch count. He also has some walk issues, which of course that's going to drive up his pitch count. And he 5.2, like it doesn't sound like something crazy, but he really hasn't hit this number a lot. And the White Sox, they're supposed to be a good hitting team. They definitely are going to be much better than the stats indicate. And Plesac, again, just he's struggling right now, it seems. And I think the White Sox, they're a good hitting team. They could definitely capitalize on this. So I think maybe he goes like 5. And if he has some walk struggles, he's giving up runs, whatever, all of that's just going to possibly not even hit his like 70, 80 pitch count usually where he is at. Because then, he's just getting hit hard. I think he's just going to take it out of the game early before he even hits like 80 plus pitches or something. So I like Plesac, his under number here. And then another under is going to be Ranger Suarez at 15.5. So this one, I would say, is definitely, a little risky anytime you're taking a pitching outs number that is this low. But Ranger Suarez just hasn't been the guy that we all thought that he would be. If you play like season-long fantasy baseball, this was supposed to be like a breakout star. Or maybe not star, but a breakout candidate. His stats last year, I'm pulling up. Like, you're going to see a lot of good things based off last year's start. He was a reliever that he got converted into a starter. And like last year right here, I mean, top 3, top 4% of the league, just so good. And then this year, something's just wrong with him. Like, he's not striking guys out. Higher walk rate, everything's getting hit harder with not this one, but like all of these giving up a lot higher of like slugging percentage, on base percentage, all of that. So just not really what we would expect out of a 26-year-old who just looked really promising. Now, as a lefty going up against the Mariners, so the Mariners, they're pretty good against left-handed pitching. If you look at WRC Plus, they're currently ranked 11th. And the thing with Ranger Suarez also is he walks a good bit of batters, 9.3, not extremely high, but that's definitely not low. And the Mariners, they walk at the highest rates against left-handed pitching. Walks, of course, mean that you're going to be facing more batters, you're putting them on base, you're getting more likely into trouble, you're just allowing more hitters to come to the plate. And that's going to increase the pitcher's pitch count. So that's going to help us when we take it under on this one for pitching outs. So far this year, he does not have a long leash. Like, the Phillies will pull him, maybe earlier at times if you compare if he was on a different team with a different manager. So, getting at 0.5 is very important though, because just that full inning, if it was just at 15, it's a big deal. Some managers just like to pull out guys only at like the exact complete full inning. Now for fantasy score, there's actually, they're doing some of the Tyler Wells, like, because I think his pitching outs was on here at 14.5 or 15.5, can't remember, but they pulled that. So in case they do something with this fantasy score, get this one. Not one of my favorite ones, but of course I'm giving it out, so I have interest in it. 18.5 just seems low. Kansas City, they don't strike out a ton against right-handed pitchers, but Tyler Wells also, he doesn't really strike out a ton of guys either. He doesn't have a high whiff for K percentage, so that doesn't really I don't mind that too much. But for righties, Kansas City though, they don't strike out, but it's not like they're hitting well against them. You look at WRC Plus, they're 25th in the league. They really don't have a lot of pop. Tyler Wells, like, those numbers, like, they're not bad. I mean, after looking at Zach Plesac and Michael Pineda, this looks pretty good. And it's more so about the Royals just not being a good team. I think 18.5 is just a little bit too low. He should probably be in like the low 20s, 21.5, 22.5 or so. Just feel like he can easily hit this. He can go, say, 5 innings. That's 15 points for the outs, and then strike out maybe 3-4 guys, give up like 2 runs or something like that. Possibly be in line for the win. That's definitely something that he could be in. Has a decent shot at earning the win because Carlos Hernandez, he hasn't been good this year. So that +6 also a big deal. So I think Wells, just the projection's a little bit too low on him. So I do like him. And then on to hitting. So there's not a lot of hitting ones that I like. Just the pitchers today, like there are some really good ones on the mound, and then there's some kind of like average to a little bit above average pitchers, but it's just the matchups. Like some of these hitters, like the bats, they're not really like facing the worst pitchers, so that's when I really like to take these overs on the fantasy score. But yeah, you talk about like the Yankees, these projections are just a little high. Like I don't typically like to take 8.5, 8, 7.5, something like a little bit, a little not likely to take those as well. So going with 3 of them. So the first one's going to be Jose Abreu. That is going to be over 6 fantasy score. So Cleveland, again, it's Zach Plesac on the other side, and Abreu has been an absolute beast at the plate. He's really showing it now with the stats, but he's honestly been great all year. It's just he's been unlucky, but now it's finally starting to lead to actual results, and you're gonna see just a whole bunch of red on his page. Again, Plesac with all that blue stuff, but Abreu, the way that he's been swinging the bat, a 6 projection is just way too low, and he should honestly be like 7.5. That full point compared to Tim Anderson, 1.5 with Robert. Sure, Abreu doesn't have that stolen base potential, but when you compare hitting, that's what's the most important thing. Abreu looks really good, and Zach Plesac, he's had some reverse splits as well, so definitely all of that is helping Abreu a lot. Everything is in the red except for speed, and I mean, this is absolutely tremendous. I mean, 62% hard hit rate is insane. Plesac, again, he just hasn't been a good pitcher. This is definitely a great spot for Abreu. I would say he's my favorite play so far for this slate. And then there are going to be 2 more. They're from the same team, and that is going to be Jake Cronenworth and Eric Hosmer. Kyle Hendricks has been really bad this year. Hendricks' success throughout his career has been control. He induces a soft contact, doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but because he's not walking guys, he's not putting guys on base, he's able to get through entire lineups, and he's just not performing right now. Maybe there's something wrong. I mean, he's 32. He's not really like too old, so I don't think that all of a sudden he's going to decline this much. But his ground ball rate, it's always been near or even above 50% throughout his career. This year, it's only at 36%. And if it's not on the ground, then of course you're allowing line drives, flyouts, and his K rate, still not going to be high, 17.2. He's walking more guys, ERA a lot higher, and again, that hard hit rate, he's just getting, that's not normal of him, and it's been a month. So, I don't know if this is just going to continue, if something's wrong with him, but that's definitely going to be good for us when we're looking at taking hitters against him. One thing I have to mention, because I think people do like to look at BVP stats, Eric Hosmer, I think he's 3 for 16 in his career. But the thing is, Eric Hosmer has an insane high ground ball rate, and Kyle Hendricks cannot induce the same amount of ground balls that he has been in his career. So for that's going to help Hosmer. Hosmer also has been a lot better this year. Hendricks been a lot worse. So it's just like you got one piece and then another piece all working together. They fit together. And I think a 5.5 projection is just a little bit too low. And then Cronenworth, same thing for him, 5.5, same projection. I think it's too low. I think he's leading off now, and that's more like a permanent move. So, you're batting leadoff. You got Kim behind him, Machado, of course. Machado just been on fire. Kim, he's been really good lately. And just a 4.1 total, probably think it's a little bit too low. They're playing at home. I think Cronenworth, his ability to get on base, come home, have guys that do drive him in. I think these projections are just maybe, a point too low. So really like both of them getting the platoon advantage as well. And then the last one I'm going to say is Aaron Hicks runs in RBIs. So yeah, still not a lot of games here. This is only if Aaron Hicks is going to be leading off. If he is not hitting first, I'm not playing this. John Gray, he really is not that great, but also he's not bad. Like if you look at him, sure, you see a 7 ERA, but that's not who he is. He's better than that. He's also out of cores now, and the thing is, when I say I'm not gonna play him if Hicks is not leading off, is because DJ LeMahieu has been the leadoff guy, but for some reason he just hasn't been, lately, the past 2 games, I think. So we're gonna have to wait and see if it's like a lefty righty thing or not. But yeah, it's just awkward because LeMahieu was also leading off against righties, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'll play Hicks if he's leading off. Switch hitter. Again, John Gray. These are his stats. Just kind of an average guy. He should be better now that he's out of cores. So hopefully, he's gonna have a better season than this. But the Yankees, they're just a tough offense. So that's why I have interest in this one. They're gonna put up more props here. You can see for hits and walks, it's the same thing. So they're gonna put the afternoon games up, and I'll update that and post it. But one thing I'm gonna say is that in the future, like I think it's Paul Blackburn. Yeah, Paul Blackburn, his fantasy score was at 21.5. Now it's at 24.5. If in the future that there are plays that I just like a little bit earlier than when I do record this, I'm just gonna tweet it out. So that's the importance of making sure that you do have a Twitter and just looking up anything, whether it be mine or other people's plays, because there definitely are some mistakes, I would say, by PrizePicks, and you got to be able to capitalize on those lines that are just too low or too high. So again, I will post an updated version of the picks later tomorrow. And yeah, Jose Abreu gonna be leading the way for today's slate as of right now with the over on the 6 fantasy points. So again, thank you guys for watching. Good luck on the slate, and I'll see you in the next video.